So, Donald, we ask our guests to pass the mic to our next guest with a question that they leave for that guest. And the previous guest that we had on the podcast is Angus Gibson, a director, producer, and filmmaker whose work includes Yizo Yizo, Zone 14, Shaka, iLembe, and many others. I'm sure you're familiar with Angus. But the question he left for you was...
My question would be, I'm interested, in the other person's view of what right have we to tell stories that are not our own. Am I able to tell the story of a woman? Am I able to tell the story of a trans person? Am I able to tell the story of a black person? I'm interested in that question. And
I think that is an ethical question. And unfortunately, the world doesn't wait for ethics to be right first before things are done. Meaning, stories of other people have been told for millennia, whether or not that right was secured. So if the question is asking from is it ethical or isn't it? The answer is obviously it's not ethical. But does that mean that the story shouldn't be told? The answer is no. It doesn't preclude the story from being told just because there are ethical considerations around it. So my view is the only time it's problematic for let's say a white man to tell a story about a black person or a man to tell a story about a woman is if that story is not based on facts. That story doesn't take into account cultural nuance and the actual truth of the story. So it is only then that I think we are then reaching dangerous grounds. But if those things are intact, come on, there's nothing wrong with us telling those stories. That's been happening for millennia, forever, and some of them have been completely wrong. Some of them have been completely erroneous. To this day, people don't understand that Africa was named after a white colonizer. They still don't know that the actual continent used to be Al-Kegulan, but the story was still told, and nobody is crying foul. So really, what rights do we have? Well, you don't really have the right, but you can tell the story so long as you make sure the story is truthful and it's accurate.